Hey you guys, how you doing? Sorry I started a little late. So let me just take a few moments to get myself together, get some people in here, and then we'll get started. I think everything's working okay. Let me know if you can hear me. I just want to make sure my sound sounds good after, all the trouble I've had. We'll give it a couple minutes, okay? Okay, so let's get started. Hello, again, welcome to the live stream. Thanks for coming and joining, really appreciate it. We're gonna get this started. This is, yay, you guys can hear me and it sounds good. Thank you very much, Blackjack Innovator, and thank you very, very much for your help, by the way. I really appreciate it, all the help you gave me when I was troubleshooting and everything. It took me a while, but I think I finally got everything good. Hey, how you doing there? NJ Transition, okay, I'm totally gonna butcher your name. I apologize. NJ. Hello, hi. Hey Tim, how you doing? Good to see you. I'm glad you guys can hear me. That's awesome. Yay, I'm glad we finally got this working. So I'll start off with, I got one question that someone asked, and I'll start off with that question. If you guys have any questions, write it in the comments section, and I'll answer it when I can. This is going to be the last Let It Ride live stream. I mean, it's not going to be the last live stream. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be the last Let It Ride live stream. So this is the last time you'll see the Let It Ride layout on the table and everything. After today, I'm going to switch it over to Blackjack, and tomorrow I'm going to be filming some more videos. So that's why I have to put Blackjack on there. Okay, good. I'll call you NJ. That sounds good. I know I'm going to butcher everyone's name. I see it in the future. I'm a fortune teller and I see it in the future. Yeah, I see your future. Your future is you're going to butcher a shitload of names. Okay, so anyway, James on Facebook asked me, and this was a pretty good question. He said, have casinos ever made special arrangements for dealers with disabilities? For example, I can't hear out of one ear and struggle to hear players as they mumble their bets. Would they even consider not hiring a new dealer because of a special case? So again, like I said, this is a really great question. It really depends on the casino. It depends on the casino. It depends on the person who's hiring you. Really, it just depends on the property itself. See, when I was working at the Golden Nugget, they did hire people with disabilities, and then they would try to accommodate those disabilities. For example, we had one woman who she couldn't stand on the table. So what they did was they had one sit-down blackjack table with a chair, and then she would sit down there, and that would always be her table. So they accommodated for her. Casinos try to be as accommodating as they can. But like I said, it depends on the casino. So, of course, there will be casinos out there who are just basic, jerks, just because that's the way life is. So it really just depends on the property. Now, as far as struggling to hear someone when they mumble their bets, if it's on blackjack or any game where you have to use hand signals to give the dealer your decision, then the hearing problem really shouldn't be a big deal on, say, like blackjack, because then the players are like, stay, hit. They have to give hand signals anyway. But this might be a big problem, say, on something like craps, where people are yelling bets at you and you have a lot of noise going on and a lot of things happening all at once. Plus, not to mention on craps, you always have to repeat the bet. You have to say it back so that way the boxmen can hear you. So this might cause a little trouble on craps. It really just depends on the it just depends on the casino and whether they're willing to accommodate or not. Let's see. Unfortunately, we don't have any free popcorn, Eric. I'm sorry. I'll get some popcorn for next time. Actually, popcorn sounds good. I think I want to have some popcorn now. Now I'm hungry. Now I want popcorn. Thank you. Okay. So do you guys have any questions in the comments? Ask me your questions. I basically only had that one question. And like I said, it was a really good question about, you know, disabilities and special arrangements and that type of a thing. Again, like I said, it depends on the casino. Normally with casinos and disabilities, casinos typically have a 12-point system, at least here in Las Vegas. I'm not so sure about, like, say, an Indian casino in Milwaukee or something like that, because, you know, again, every casino is different. But as far as the ones in Las Vegas, you have the 12-point system. So if you call in more than 12 times during the year, you'll get fired. Another thing is in Las Vegas, if you call in sick on a holiday or a special event weekend or something like that, that could also be a reason for someone to get fired. I actually talk about this in the book that I'm writing. I have a whole chapter on actually all sorts of information. You guys really, the book is huge at the moment. But I'm going to be talking about that in my book and everything. So thank you, Eric. Eric just said, no, you're really awesome. I've learned so much from you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Eric. So I'll go over a few hands. If you guys think of something you want to ask me, go ahead, ask me, talk to me. I got the comments up. I could see everything. And I will go over, let's say 2 or 3 hands to let it ride. And we will talk to each other while we do this. Now, I don't have the shuffle machine because I'm not like cool like that. So I have to hand shuffle. And you just do a normal hand shuffle. That's all you really have to do. So we'll have 2 people playing. And like I said before, all 3 bets have to be the same amount. And really, you're only betting this one bet right here. The $sign, that's your bet right there. These 2 are optional bets. You could take them down if you want. So if you don't have a winning hand, you could always take them down. Awesome. Okay, I'll get to that in just 1 second, NJ. So we have these 3 bets right here. They're going to get 3 cards. And the dealer's going to get 2 community cards. And the community cards are for all of the players. Now we'll go with the first player right here. And this player has a pair of 8s and a 9. Now you need a pair of 10s or higher to win and let it ride. So unfortunately the 8s aren't really going to do anything. So you're going to want to pull it back. When you pull it back, you're going to sweep the cards like this. And then the dealer will push the bet back. Now, in some casinos, they want you to do it with your palms up and open, facing the cameras, and this makes sense because then you can't palm any checks. But I never learned this way, so I'm really awkward when it comes to doing this. But that's basically how you're supposed to do it at some casinos. Like I said, it depends on every casino. And then this second player doesn't have anything. He has a 9-6-4, which is utter and pure crap. So we're going to pull that back. And again, push it back. Now, NJ asked, I've been intimidated by some of the dealers in my local casino when I approach a table game. I get the feeling when I make a mistake, the dealers and floor are eyeing me for the slightest mistake. Are they looking to throw me off the table? Is this normal or am I being paranoid? There's no reason to be intimidated at the table. You're good. Everything's good. Most of the dealers there are probably just really exhausted and tired and they don't want to be there. So that's probably a little bit of the feeling that you're getting when you're walking up to the table because the dealer's like, seriously? But that's just dealers being dealers. So there's no reason to be intimidated. If you make a mistake, that's okay. It's not a big deal. It's not a problem. The dealer will just notify you of the mistake and correct it. And sometimes if you make a mistake, the dealer won't even notice. That's happened too. So there's really no need to be worried or anything. You could play, you can make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, even the players. And we realize that, and there's no reason to be intimidated. Really, we just want to provide a fun, enjoyable atmosphere. But like I said again, there are a lot of dealers out there who, you know, like with every industry out there, they don't like their job, they don't want to be there, they're tired. And that might sometimes come across as like them feeling, them having like negative, I guess you could call it vibes towards you. It doesn't have anything to do with you, I promise. And if they are, say, let's say if you're at a table, a blackjack table, and you're winning a lot of money, and the dealer and the floorman are sitting there sweating the money, that's just because it's them sweating the money. They're not, they shouldn't be projecting that on you. Some of them do, just because, you know, some people suck. But all in all, yeah, there should be no reason for you to be intimidated. Everyone should be nice. If you make a mistake, it's okay, no big deal. I hope I answered your question. I hope so. Okay, let me know if I answered your question. So now we're going to go back to the game, now that I went on that little tangent. So they both pulled back their bet, and now we're going to see the first community card. And the first community card you could see with all of the other players. Like, you know, everyone has this 6. So we have an 8, an 8, a 9, and a 6. That's not going to do anything. We need a pair of 10s or higher. So he's going to sweep the deck, or the cards, I mean. The dealer's going to push the bet back, and we're going to go on to the next hand. This hand was really bad, a 9, a 6, and a 4. I know we have a pair of 6s right here, but you need a pair of 10s to actually do anything. So sweep your cards, and the dealer will push the bet back to you. And now we're going to reveal the final one. Oh, this dude got lucky. Now, this doesn't happen very often. I have a 6 and a 9. This guy has a 6 and a 9. So he ended up getting 2 pair. Pair of 6 is a pair of 9s. Now, if you look on the table, you'll see 2 pair is 2 to 1. So on the bet that they left up, he'll get paid 2 to 1. And it's only on the bet that you left up. That's all. So even though he took these down, he doesn't get paid for them or anything. You have to leave the bet up in order to get paid for it. But they're taken down. This doesn't happen very often. This is awesome when it happens, but yeah, it doesn't happen very often. And if they have a dollar bet on the bonus, then a 2 pair would get paid $3 on the bonus. I'll play the bonus on the next one. I always forget to play the bonus. NJ said, yes, you did. Thanks. Awesome. I'm glad I answered your question for you. Cool. And then we have a pair of 8s and a 9. Again, not often when this happens. So this guy has 2 pairs as well. He has a pair of 8s and a pair of 9s. So he only gets paid 2 to 1 on the bet that he left up as well. And when you do this, always make sure that you spread the cards far enough that the cameras can see them. You don't want to, say, have the cards like this, because then no one can see anything. The camera can't see anything. The floorman can't see anything. You have to have it actually like this. And just so you know, I just thought of this. You'll have a floorman over here watching the table. He can't see the number. What he's looking at is the pips. He's looking at the pips to see what card it is. That's why you always have to have all of the pips showing, because they don't look at the number. They can't see the number from all the way over there. What they're looking at is the number of spots the card has. So that's another reason why you don't want to cover the cards when you're doing, that's another reason why you don't want to cover the cards when you open them. I can do this. Okay. So Tim said, what's the highest you've been paid on a bonus yourself when dealing? This is actually, this leads to an interesting story. So I was dealing letter ride one night, and I had this guy on my table, and at first he was betting like $25, so 25, 25, 25, and, you know, little 5 for me. You know, that's not much. But I was just paying him out that night, like just pain and pain and pain. So he would get like a 3 of a kind, he would get a flush, he would get 2 pair, he would, you know, just every single hand pain. And so finally he raised his bet. So he would do 100, 100, 100, and then he put a $25 out for me. Well, it got to the point where I think he won, what was it? I think he won a straight flush, which is 200 to 1. So he had a 100 on each one. It's 200 to 1. That's 2,000 that he got paid for each bet. And then I had 25 up. So when I called over my floorman wasn't exactly happy about that. He was sort of mad at me. And he's like, well, we're not paying that. You know, we're not paying your tip. You went over the tip amount. Now this, mind you, was the first time I ever heard of a maximum amount for a tip. I thought the player could tip whatever they wanted to tip as long as it was in the minimum and maximum, and it would be totally fine. I did not know there was like a maximum tip that you could give people. But on tables such as this, where you have 1,000 to 1 payout, 200 to 1 payout, 50 to 1 payout, that type of a thing, they always have a maximum amount that the dealer can be tipped. And $25 was, I think, over that amount or something. Or it was right on the edge. I don't remember exactly what it was because it happened over a decade ago. But I remember that he refused to pay my tip. He was like, there's no way the casino's paying that. The guy who was playing got really mad, infuriated, and he started yelling at my floorman, and he's like, I'm going to take my business elsewhere. If you don't pay that tip, forget it. You just lost a customer. So my floorman called the manager. The manager was like, okay, pay the tip. They paid the tip. I dropped it. That guy was cool. He ended up playing a little bit longer. But when I got off the table, my casino manager and my floorman called me over, and I got like a talking to. You know, you can't do that. What are you thinking about doing? There's only there's a max. So I got in trouble for that. I didn't get written up for that, but I did get in trouble for that. And they're like, you can't do that again. So that's when I learned that there's like a maximum amount that you could be tipped. So on Let It Ride, that was the most money I was ever tipped and won. I got one more story about being tipped on Let It Ride. Just 1 second. Let's see. Okay, so last story, and then I will answer your other question. So, sorry, I was on Let It Ride, and this woman was playing. I don't remember how much she was playing, but I remember that she got a royal flush, and it was the most money you could get on Let It Ride, pays 1,000 to 1. So her total amount that she won on Let It Ride was $40,000. So we're sitting there and we're waiting for the money because it takes like 30 minutes for them to actually get the money, bring it to the table and that type of a thing. And we have to sit there and wait while all this is happening. So we're sitting there and she throws me like, I don't remember. I think it was either $20 or $40. It must have been like $40 or something. She threw me like $40. And she's like, oh, here's your tip. Good job. Thank you. And I was a little mad because that's like 0.01% or 0.1% of the tip. It was something ridiculous like that. And I'm like, oh, no, it's okay. You keep the $40. And when you get the $40,000, then you can give me the tip. That's cool. Well, she didn't exactly understand. So she ended up giving me like $50 or something like that, or she ended up just giving me the 40 or something. And yeah, I was a little upset about that. It's like, you got a $40,000 payout and you give me a 0.1% tip for that. Thank you. So that's my little rant that I went on. So Tim asked, can you play more than one hand at a time like other games? And this is a really good question. With Let It Ride, let me think here. I believe I think that depends on the casino. Because when I worked at the Rio, you couldn't do every hand, you know. You could only play one hand, but when I was working at the Golden Nugget, you could do multiple hands. The only thing is if you played multiple hands, you had to get approval from the floorman first. So I believe normally you can't play multiple hands unless you get approval from the floorman first, and then some casinos won't even let you do multiple hands, period. So it just depends on the casino. If you want to play multiple hands, just talk to your dealer and ask them to call over the floor, and then when the floor comes over, then be like, hey, is it cool if I play like 2 hands, or is it cool if I play 3 hands? And the floor should be like, oh yeah, that's fine, we're not busy, that's cool, I know you're playing 3 hands, go for it. And then you could play 3 hands. But I think you have to get approval from the floor first before you do that. And that would just be on the payouts where they're like 1,000 to 1, 200 to 1, 50 to 1, that type of a thing. If you were on blackjack, where you don't have the multiple payouts, the high number of payouts, then I think you could play like 2 or 3 hands and it's not a big deal. Unless you were on a handheld game. If you're on a blackjack handheld game, then it would matter, and then you would actually have to get approval from the floor before you play 2 or 3 hands. So again, it just depends on what casino you're at. It depends on the table you're at. It depends on the floorman who's at the pit at the time. But the only way to find out is actually sit down and just ask, hey, is it cool if I could play these 2 or 3 hands? And if you ask, then it shouldn't be a problem. So let me know if you guys have any other questions. Let's see, I'll try to think of another tip story. I did a post, I did a social media post the other day, and it was like of naked people. And now all I could think of are naked people stories. So that doesn't do the whole tip thing. Let's see. Okay. Again, if I butcher your name, I apologize. Constantino asked if the house edge is greater than blackjack or baccarat, then what's the point to play at these games and lose our money? Just a question. These games are called carnival games. The carnival games are not, they are not marketed towards, and they do not, their customer base is not knowledgeable players. If you're a knowledgeable player where you know the house edge and you understand that, and you understand, you know, say baccarat gives you a better house edge than blackjack, then you will not play a carnival game. Carnival games always have a high house edge. They are usually for people who don't know what they're doing. They don't know anything about a house edge. They're just playing for fun, and they just want something other than blackjack. And then that's when they'll go to the carnival games. And then you'll have, you know, the let it ride games, 3-card poker, crazy 4 poker, that type of a thing. So all of those games are basically for uneducated players who don't understand that they have a higher house edge than, say, something like baccarat, which only has a 0.5% house edge. Let's see. So yeah, if you are a player and you want the best house edge, the game you would play is you would play baccarat, banker. And even though banker has a 5% commission, the banker hands come up more often than the player hands do. And with baccarat, you have a 50-50 chance, either player or banker. And then if a tie hits, neither the player or the banker loses, which is why baccarat is a lot better than, say, something like roulette, where people go up to roulette and they're like, oh, I'm going to bet red or I'm going to bet black and I have a 50-50 shot. No, that's absolutely incorrect. Roulette's horrible because if a 0 or a 00 hits, you lose the red bet, you lose the black bet. But on baccarat, if a tie hits, you don't lose your banker bet, you don't lose your player bet. So baccarat playing the banker is a really, really good bet. Another good bet that has a good house edge or house advantage is when you're playing craps and you're playing true odds on craps. So say true odds, for example, you're playing craps and you have a bet on pass line. And then behind your pass line bet, you could put odds. These are true odds. These are the actual odds of the casino. And that is a really, really good bet for the players. You always want to take true odds. So that's another one that the players who know, who understand, they would be more likely to say bet those bets or bet those games than they would go to a carnival game. So Constantino said, thank you very much. You're welcome. I had the same opinion that these games are only for entertainment and not for profit. Absolutely right. Entertainment only. However, they're for profit for the casinos, not the players. Casinos make big profits off of this. Let's see here. That was a really good question. Thank you very much, Constantino, for asking that. And like I said, I apologize for butchering your name. I know I'm probably butchering your name. I'm going to butcher everybody's name out there. I totally know that. Let's see here. I think we'll do one more hand, and then if you guys have any other questions, feel free to ask. And then after this second hand, I think we're going to call it a day. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments. I always say put them in the comments below because that's what I always say for the videos, and now I have it like stuck in my head. And I noticed that the last time I did the live stream, I was like, oh, put it in the comments below. And I'm like, wait, the comments aren't below, they're like to the side. So I think it's just because I'm so freaking used to saying that I've got it like stuck in my head. So each player gets 3 cards, dealer gets 2 community cards, and then let's see what player 1 has. Player 1 has a pair of 3s and an 8. That's nothing. You need a pair of 10s or higher to win anything. So we're going to pull back. They're going to sweep the cards like that, and the dealer is going to push the bet back. Second player has a queen, a 5, and a 4. Again, absolutely nothing. So we're going to push the bet back, and if you're at some casinos, you'll push it back like that. You can see how awkward I am when I do that. I'm so not used to that. Okay, so we have a 2 of diamonds coming up. This person has an 8 and 2 3s. That's not going to help them any, so they're going to pull their bet back. And this person has a queen, a 5, and a 4. Again, that 2 is not going to do anything, so we're going to pull that bet back. There you go. And now for the last community card, we got a pair of 2s. Now, because you need a pair of 10s or better to win anything, these pair of 2s don't really do anything for anyone unless you have a 2 in the hand. I believe neither of these people had a 2 in the hand, so I think both of them lost. Let's see. We have a queen, a 5, and a 4 with the 2 2s. Yep, not a pair of 10s or higher. So unfortunately, they lose their bet. And then we have a pair of 3s and an 8. Okay, so this one's good. So they have a pair of 3s and a pair of 2s, so they have 2 pair. So the 2 pair, if you look, is 2 to 1. So they get paid 2 to 1. And I forgot to play the bonus bet. I always forget the bonus bet. By the way, if you're a dealer, never forget the bonus bet. You're always supposed to make sure the players have the bonus bet. And if they don't have a bonus bet, always ask the player, would you like to play the bonus bet? Reason why is because the bonus bet has a higher house advantage or house edge than the actual game. So if they play the bonus bet, that basically means more money for the casino. Any more questions? Let's see here. So this is a good one. NJ asks, when playing Let It Ride, are you required to have all 3 bets, or can you only bet 1 or 2 of the spaces? I think I missed this in your videos. You didn't miss it in my video, NJ. I don't think I ever covered it in my video. This is one of those things where it doesn't happen very often, and I think that's why I didn't cover it in my video. But it's a very, very good question. So I've had people come to the table asking me this before. Now, the casino does not care if you play 1 or 2. They only care if you play the $sign. As long as that dollar symbol has the minimum bet on it, that's all they care about. If you play that, you could play the game. They don't care about anything else. So it's not, now, here's the thing, okay, it's not exactly beneficial for you not to play the 1 and the 2. It's more beneficial for you to play the 1 and the 2. And the reason why is because you can always pull these 2 bets back at any time. It's your choice. Now, if you say get a pair of 10s in your hand and you don't play the 1 and the 2, you can't put it up. You can't say, oh, I got a pair of 10s, now I want to put these up. They won't let you do that. You already said, no, I'm not going to play these, so you have to play just the 1. So if you have a pair of 10s on your first 3 cards, you're going to lose out on this money. If you don't have anything, you could just pull it back, and then you don't have to play the money at all. So it's more beneficial to the player to play these 2 spots than it is to not play it and then just put the actual bet up. So I always recommend that when someone's at the table, do in fact play these spots. If you don't like what you have, you can always pull it down. But if you have a surefire winner, at least then you can get paid for those 2 spots as well. So let's see here. Tim asked, are bonus bets always $1 for Let It Ride, and why? Yes, bonus bets are always $1. You'll have a little glass contraption right here that lights up, and then you put your dollar on it, and the dealer will go over here, and there's like the shuffle machine and like a machine, and you can lock out the bets and do all sorts of stuff over here. So you would lock it out, and then once the bet's locked out, you would take the dollar and put them in your rack, and now the light would light up, and it would stay lit up for the whole hand, I guess you would call it. So that way the cameras and the floormen know that you bet the dollar. You can only bet $1. You can't bet 5, you can't bet 10, you can't bet anything like that. It has to be $1. Now, why? Why is a very good question, and I don't know the answer to why. I'm not sure why. I don't know the answer to that. I just know it has to be $1. So I guess when the inventors were inventing the game, they're the ones that decided it had to be $1. Now, if anyone is watching this and you do know the reason to why it's only $1 and it's not $5 or $10 or anything like that, please write it down in the comments so that way we know. But personally, I'm not sure the reason why that is. So let's see here. NJ says, thanks. This looks like a lot of fun. I look forward to the next live stream. Yay! Oh, and by the way, the next live stream, like I said, it's going to be a blackjack table. And it's going to be general questions. So it could be blackjack questions, roulette questions, any game you want type of question. I'm pretty much done with the Let It Ride series right now. We have one more video for Let It Ride, and that's next Thursday, and it's going to be the full dealing video. So it's going to be all 4 videos put together into one video. So that way, if you want to learn how to deal Let It Ride, you just have to watch one video. So that's coming out next Thursday. And then the Thursday after that, it's going to be another live stream. So like I said, I'll have a blackjack layout on it next time, and you can ask me questions for any games. So this is technically the last Let It Ride live stream that I'm going to have, because I probably won't put this table layout back on after this. It's like, yeah, we've had enough Let It Ride. We're done with Let It Ride. So let's see. So Constantino asked, I had read somewhere that you can count cards at all card games, not only at blackjack. This happens also at this game. Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So, okay. So you hear people saying, oh, I'm going to count cards, I'm a card counter, but whenever they're talking about that, they're normally talking about blackjack. And what Constantino is asking is, can you do that for other games? Does it have to be just blackjack? And yes, the answer is yes. You can count cards on any game. Any game that has a deck of cards, you can count cards on. Now, you're not technically like counting cards. It's more like you're noticing. You're being very observant. You're just noticing that, hey, I'm on Let It Ride, and the table's full, and I could see everybody's hands, and I notice he has a lot of kings, she has a lot of queens and tens. You know, there's a lot of queens, kings, tens, that kind of thing out there. So that must mean that these 2 cards are low cards. And that's just normal deduction. That's just logic. That's not technically counting cards. But using that knowledge and figuring that type of thing out gives you a better house edge or a house advantage. And that's why on Let It Ride, the dealer will be like, I'm sorry, you can't show each other the cards. You know, there's no sharing in that. You have to keep the cards to yourselves. And that will happen also on Pai Gow Poker and what else? Those are the only 2 I could think of at the moment. So this and Pai Gow Poker. But very good question. Tim keeps saying I keep trying to stump you. Well, you did stump me with the dollar and the why. Yeah, that stumped me. I did not know the answer to that. So, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any more questions, go ahead and ask it. Otherwise, I think we're done with the live stream today. I am just about as ready to be done with Let It Ride as everybody else is. I was never a big fan of this. They would always, when I worked at the Golden Nugget, they would always have me deal Let It Ride every Wednesday. So I am not a fan of this at all. I have friends, I have a couple of friends that I still talk to, and this one person in particular that I'm thinking of, he's the one that always called it Let It Die. It's like, oh God, I got to deal Let It Die. Somebody kill me. So I was thinking of him when I wrote that part in my video, the one where I'm wearing the, it's like the death mask and the sigh and, oh, you know, that part. I was thinking of that dude when I did that because he always called it Let It Die, always. So, great. Okay, cool. I think we are done for the day. I see no more questions. You guys have been totally awesome. I really, really appreciate your questions. Thank you so much for asking them. Thank you for participating. Thank you for watching. Oh, wait, before I go. Okay, Nashvillian for life. He has been on me about this. So I promised him I would start saying this. And make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you'll always be notified of my latest videos and live streams. Ta-da! Okay, so I'm going to add that into all my new videos. When I'm making new videos, that's going to be like a new line for me because Nashvillian for life was basically, he kept on me about that. So I'm going to add that. So yeah, if you want notifications for the live streams, for the videos, for anything, go ahead and hit that notification bell. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter. If you like what I do and you want to support me, hit me up on Patreon. Or I think I have Super Chat enabled in here. So now you could do Super Chat donations and everything, which if you do donate, much appreciated. If you do become a Patreon, much appreciated. And oh, with my Patreon account, check it out because I have a bunch of rewards that you could choose from. There's a whole list of rewards. I try to put a lot up there. So, before I go, Constantino asked, please make more videos about Baccarat, my favorite game. Okay, I'm always up for making new videos. If you guys ever have any suggestions about new videos, put them in the comments and I will totally put it on my to-do list. As far as Baccarat goes, I have a how to play Baccarat and I have a how to deal Baccarat. If you would like me to talk about anything more specific or maybe cover stuff that I didn't cover in the videos, let me know in the comments and I will totally do that for you. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Okay, now I'm going to exit because I have to turn it off all the way over there. Okay, I'm totally going to get used to this. Have a good day. Talk to you later. Bye.